Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Lance and today I'm going to show you how I put together a SAAB 9.3 front strut. This is for the 2003 plus onwards. So here is the McPherson Strut and the part code. This is a B4 Bilstein. Then got the protective sleeve on the bottom of the spring. That's also a part you have to order separately. Just remember that. Moving up, you have the yellow bump-stop. Another important part that comes with the strut itself, and I'm just making a note here of the on top of the strut is the nut that needs a 7mm bit on the end of it. So it's usually, I think they're called Allen keys in the UK, so just get a 7mm. We then got the bearing. So this bearing, obviously when they wear out, cause strange noises on the suspension. There's some part numbers there if you're interested. This is not sponsored, by the way, so I don't get a penny. Here's the top mount, I think it's called, has a bit of rubber in it, and yeah, I think mine's worn out because I've got a few suspension creaks. So yeah, that's getting replaced as well. And then we've got the protective sleeve. I don't know the real name of it, but yeah, I've got the part numbers. And yeah, this just stops dirt and grime getting into the strut itself. Obviously don't forget you need some sort of tool to compress the spring, and obviously do that using the right expertise. So I'll move on to actually putting this all together now. So here we go. So just making sure I've got my gloves on so I don't get a splinter or some other crap on my hands. So what I've done is I've basically got a layout of a sleeper and a bit of timber. It's actually just in case the spring flies off. I know that in most cases it's probably going to fly off at my head, but you know, you can't be too safe in these situations. So I'm just starting off with the clamp. Now the position of the clamp is important because you can see the bottom bolt that I'm wiggling there. There's advantages to having it either facing the bottom of the spring or the top. You can see my situation, I've angled it towards the top because it's away from the blue bit of the spring, which is the bottom. So I use a 21 sized wrench. I don't know why I'm saying a 21, but that's the kind of wrench I use just to tighten it up. Use a spanner as well. The spanner's mainly for when I'm doing both sides and also releasing. So you can see here, I think I've actually put it on the wrong way, so I thought I'd leave this footage in just so you can see how I adjust things. And some of the reasoning for why I position the clamps the way I do. So the whole point of this video really is just to show my way of doing it, and hopefully it's educational or entertaining for some. So I'm hoping not to talk through the whole thing and just kind of let the footage kind of speak for itself. So these clamps here, they are heavy duty. I'd say they're almost kind of like premium standard. They're not like real cheap ones. I think I got them from like Halfords, not sponsored. And they've just been sitting there for a while, and I've put this job off for such a long time. But yeah, finally, I've just decided to just go for it and get this car just back to where it should be in terms of kind of OEM type of suspension. Now this bit here with the ruler, I actually measure the gap of how much I'm tightening these things, because you're only supposed to tension them 1 centimeters each time. So another thing I'm doing here is using the timber. So I don't have to put my hand on the spring. I can just put the timber on the clamp, and it actually works against the force I'm rotating in, which is good, so the clamp won't actually slip. So this is just my technique. It's kind of hard to see it because I'm kind of covering the spring, but yeah, this is how I do it really. So yeah, I'll let the footage kind of play on, and I'll put back in if there's anything I need to explain. Enjoy for now. Right, so you can see that we're just about to start opening up the parts. I'm going to start off with the lower bearing, and then on the left, well, while I'm putting it on top of the metal thing, is the support bearing. Obviously, if one or both of these go, you get a lot of kind of clunking noises, especially when going over bumps. Very common sort of issue. The next part there is the bellows. That just stops any dirt and grime getting into your strut, which then causes them to fail. So always put, I'd say, brand new ones of these on, in my opinion. I think it is kind of common sense. Once you've got the right parts, they all literally fit in one way. I mean, if you put this in upside down, you're going to know, like this bit here actually just sits on top of the spring. See, it just seats on quite nicely. So that's, like I said, a lot of it is common sense. I'm quite good at this kind of handy stuff, so yeah, I think with cars as well, things usually go in as they should. So with this bit here, I was just pointing towards the gap. There has to be like a 1 centimeter gap at the bottom of the spring. And then as I'm putting this together, what I'm trying to do is find out if the nut itself is protruding out of that support bearing. You can see it's a bit wonky. So the main thing is don't worry about the bit at the bottom of the spring, just worry about getting the nut on first, and then when you tighten the nut, after that stage it's important to get the blue bit seated. I was just putting the washer on top there. I'm not actually that sure if that's correct, but it just, from my knowledge, I'd say that was probably the best thing to do. So I've got the bearing on there. I do a lot of like testing before I put something together. Like I don't just like go, oh yeah, that will do. I do test to see that these things feel right as well. I'm also obviously trying to show you as many angles of this process as possible. Some bits get sped up because it's just me doing the same thing but struggling. You can see if you can get the knot on, you're winning. You're winning. Yeah, you're pretty much there. I've spun it on by hand. You can see I can push this support bearing down a bit. Now that's a 23 socket, size 23 socket, and I believe it's for an oxygen sensor. It's probably for the oxygen sensor that I have on the car as well, so it's quite handy. And that's probably a handy tip for people as well. So I'm just going to spit it on by hand until it bottoms out at the top, and then you won't be able to turn it by hand anymore. And that's when you have to get the 7mm bit out. I use a laser brake 7mm bit, which you'll see me scramble for in my little Magic Brakes part tin. There it is. It's a 7mm. Great little tool. It literally fits perfect for this job. I do a lot of research before I jump on working on the car, just so I know I've got the right bits. Nothing worse than the wrong bits. So you can see that there's literally just enough room for me to do this. And that, what I end up doing now is I scramble for the pliers, do a bit of adjustment, and I'm holding the top because you can get a head on it. You can get a wrench on it, but I didn't have the right size. I don't even know what the size was, to be honest. I think it's like probably a 23, same as the actual socket. But yeah, I'm actually turning it counterclockwise, I believe, because the socket would go clockwise, but I'm actually tightening the nut down using the actual Allen bit. It's hard to explain until you actually do it, but yeah. This isn't a tutorial, this is just my process. This is just how I did it, and it worked. It worked where I needed it to. Oh, I didn't want to chew that that head as well using the pliers. So yeah, tighten it. I tighten it down until it pretty much bottoms out. Like the thread literally can only go so far down, so you can't really mess this up. And if that nut can hold the weight of the spring, then you're winning. So there's the little 1cm gap that I've created. It soon does kind of diminish as you loosen the spring, but it depends on how accurate you are. So here's me just trying to get the nut on, basically, not tightened, and then I revert to actually going back to the same side and just keep tightening and tightening. It's a bit finicky and a bit of a pain, but eventually I got there. So tighten. You can see that most of the work actually goes on just actually tensioning the spring, which is the most terrifying part. And there you go, got it tightened. That is pretty much, I'd say, 90% of the job done. The next bit is releasing the spring, which I would say do not rush. The reason I use a wrench is because I can't get clearance because of the bottom of the strut. That is on one side, so on this side obviously I can get it on the other side I can't. So I use 21 ratcheting, and then I use just a standard 21 spanner on the bit where I can't get the clearance, and I just loosen the spring really slowly, 1 centimeter each side maximum, and then I turn it over and I just keep measuring the gap. But yeah, this bit shouldn't take too long. I've tried to speed it up because it's quite trivial and it's quite obvious what I'm doing here. It's not anything new that I'm bringing to the table. I blur it out a lot because I'm a bit camera shy. I don't really want my face all over YouTube. I'm quite a private person, but I do actually think I should share some of the stuff I do because I'd like to see this myself. If prior to doing this job, I would have loved to see someone else and see what technique they use. A lot of people use power tools, but it's just a really stupid idea because those tools vibrate as they turn, and that would then maybe push the clamp. So I wouldn't recommend using power tools. And you can see that I've started to now get it really loose. This bit's really important. go really slow as you start to feel it really loosening, because that's where the clamps actually start to slip. So you have to really loosen it a lot less than what you were. And you can see that it's started to rotate now on my hands. And you're pretty much safe from this point, because they're off. If they're spinning like that, they're done. And there you are. I was absolutely chuffed. I was dripping with sweat, if you can see. I think you see me drenched here, but yeah, I was dripping with sweat. That's my second spring that I've done. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If it's been good, like and subscribe. And yeah, put anything in the comments if that helps. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back for more. I've got some other really exciting videos to show you with my SAAB 9 III. So yeah, take care everyone, and yeah, I'll let this play out.